Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Welcome to the Sun, the Costa Blanca Property Podcast. I'm Aki Kareem, and joining me, as always, our incredible experts, Lisa Crabtree and Colin Robson from Welcome Estates. And today we've got an action-packed episode. They're waving there to you guys, so give them a little wave back. We've got a load of stuff coming your way, guys. We've got Property of the Week. We've got the biggest myths about buying in Spain. And we've also got some special guests coming your way as well. Before we get into this, let me just please ask you to subscribe, hit the like button, because it all helps, guys. And we've just started doing this podcast, and we want to get as many followers up as possible. Now, guys, let me just quickly, before we bring in our special guests, let me speak to you. So, Lisa, our first episode last week, and we covered some interesting topics, didn't we?
We did. We covered lots for 40 minutes, and we got some really good interaction when it went live with some questions as well, which is brilliant.
Yeah, Colin, what did you make of it? Because those people asking questions which were quite relevant to the legal side of buying, and it looked like people out there will find this useful.
Well, the first thing is it didn't feel like 40 minutes, to be honest. It felt like 5 minutes from start to finish. So that's probably an indication that we enjoy doing it. But yeah, we get these questions all the time. So it's really nice to be able to put them in a large public forum where it's not just one person asking us the question. We can give the answers to a much wider audience, hopefully.
And don't forget, guys, if you have any further information that you require, you can check out the website as well, www.welcome-estates.com. There's loads of information there. Don't forget to follow our YouTube channel as well. There are some brilliant house and property tours, apartment tours on there. It's all there. But we'll come back to that, because right now we've got special guest interviews coming our way, and we've got Mark and Claire Day about to join us. And here we are, just as I say it, like magic, here they are in the sun. Mark and Claire, welcome to the show, and thanks so much for joining us. Whereabouts are you at the minute?
We are sat on our terrace with the sun on our backs, enjoying life, to be perfectly honest.
Fantastic. That is what it's all about. And Lisa, I believe these were two clients of yours they bought through Welcome Estates, and they made their dream come true.
They did. They bought with you, didn't they, Colin?
They absolutely did, yeah. A fantastic frontline villa on La Finca, where obviously the sun's shining lovely today.
Well, let me get straight into this, guys. We want to talk a little bit about your buying journey. So I don't know if Mark or Claire who wants to start first, but I just want to get a little bit of a feel as to why you decided to make the move initially.
My business partner has a place out here, so we've been coming out for a number of years and just fell in love with the resort. And then we got to a position in life where let's go for it. Let's push that button. And we contacted Welcome Estates.
We were recommended.
They were recommended through a friend of ours, and they made everything so very simple.
Well, a lot of people find the idea of moving countries completely daunting, but did you have that feeling as well? And did buying through Welcome Estates help to alleviate some of that potential anxiety?
Yeah, when we first thought about it, we had no idea. To be brutally honest, we had no idea of what to do, what to say, what was in gonna take to do this. Like I say, a friend of ours basically put us in the direction of Colin and Welcome Estates, and it was really simple. I mean, it couldn't have been any easier. You couldn't get a nicer, more genuine people than the team at Welcome Estates. They just took care of everything, literally everything.
Yeah.
One of the key questions we had, guys, from last week's episode was, what is there to do out there? Obviously, there's the beautiful weather, and there's a lot of stuff to do in your downtime. But can you elaborate a little bit more? Like, what would your daily routine be? Let's say.
I mean, we've got our daughter here at the minute. She goes back tomorrow. But I mean, we very much wanted this to be like our second home. And although we come out here to enjoy the sunshine, we try and keep not so much as a routine. We get up, we have breakfast, we try and do some exercise. I work out here. I got the okay from my UK company that I could set up an office here, which I did. we haven't really had chance to go out and explore the area as such, but that's something that we do plan and really enjoy the country that we're in.
Yeah, fantastic. And I suppose another real key issue that came up was, about the buying experience. So, do you have any tips for potential buyers as to what they could look at in preparation wise before buying a property in Spain?
Well, if you like Mark and I, we sort of had a budget, and I would log on to Welcome Estates just to see what properties were available, and that's where we drew up our list of potential properties that we wanted to look at. But being like inquisitive, I sort of broadened the maximum price we wanted to pay, and this one dropped in, and I made the mistake of showing it to Mark, and we were sat in my office back in the UK, and he went, "That's the one I want, just buy it, we don't even need to go and look at it."
Now that's impulsive.
Yeah. So Colin and at Welcome Estates, we came out here, we stayed in the apartment on the Finca, and Colin set us up with 8 properties that he thought might meet our criteria, even though I knew in the back of Mark's mind this would be one. And I think after what was it, Colin, about 5 properties we saw. We didn't get to see the last few, did we?
It was quite interesting though. Obviously this is going back to last year now, and
last June.
We talk about how the property markets here is really hot, and in fairness, it's actually really hot in comparison to 12 months ago when you bought.
Yeah.
And I remember specifically the property which you actually ended up buying, that in the end there was a bit of a race on for it.
Yeah.
There was people literally queuing up to get the keys to go in and try and buy it, and it got a bit tense at one stage, and things aren't changing.
Yeah, we had the Irish couple, didn't we, that were hot on our tails. But
you certainly did, but again, first come, first serve, that's the rules of engagement.
Yeah, that was it. So thank you for that, Colin.
And probably out I took the keys off you, Colin.
Change the lock.
Well, it sounds like you got a fantastic property, and now that you're actually out there settled, I'm sure you haven't looked back. Like, what has been your experience since you've been there? Has it really cemented the fact that it was the correct decision for you guys?
150%.
Yeah, it couldn't be better. Our my in-laws have been out over the winter in England. They've loved it so much they're selling up, lock, stock and barrel, and moving out here as quickly as possible.
How much time are you actually spending over here in Spain?
It's probably not as much as I would personally like to. I run my own business back in the UK, so it needs a bit of attention from time to time. But we moved out in June. We got out, and we were just finding our feet a little bit, to be perfectly honest with you, Lisa. And then all of a sudden, we started looking at flights, and the flights from England or where we live in Southampton, we can use Southampton Airport and Bournemouth Airport, are just so cheap. So we'd be sat there going, should we fancy going out there then? And we just booked them. If we could make it, we just fly out. We've managed to buy a car out here now, so transportation's a lot easier, and we're beginning to find our feet. And
just for people that are watching, you've not made a full location. You're still holidaying at this point.
Correct. Yeah.
Although I'm very interested in the nomad visa, I have to say.
Yeah.
Because I can pretty much work out here 100% of the time. I have a few odd meetings, but like I said to my bosses, if I need to come back, then I will, and I'll come back at my own expense. I don't, I would never expect the company to pay that, but because the flights are so cheap, it's not really that difficult to do.
No. So at the minute you're using your 90 days.
Yes.
How does that work for you, and how do you organise it?
Well, we've got a really good app. I think, Colin, you introduced us.
The Schengen app.
That's it. So we've both got it, and we plug the dates in, and it's really easy to manage. You can see when your days are going to come back in. I mean, I'm planning on driving down in the middle of May with my dog.
Okay.
And
I've not done the drive yet. My husband has, but I've not done the drive.
Yeah, well, I've actually booked the tunnel today, and obviously I've got to get my dog sorted out, and my other daughter's going to drive down with me, and then I'm probably going to stay here till the last week in June.
Okay.
Which takes me then. I think I've got 10 days left, but then the holiday, the times we've been out here at the beginning of the month, I can see that they start to come back in. So
yeah, I think it's really good. Yeah, really good for people who's listening, because we talk about relocation a lot, but so many people buy holiday homes. And one of the comments we did touch on last week as well was Brexit and changing rules, etc. But what we try and say to people is that if you're not ready to relocate, actually 90 days, twice a year, if you're in a position to be able to do that, that's quite a lot of holidaying. In a year, you still can come. You just might have to plan it a little bit with the Schengen Act.
Yeah.
But it's still giving you. Do you feel like you're really restricted, or that you're getting a lot of time in Spain?
I feel we're getting a lot of time in Spain, Lisa. It's okay. When it comes to the time you got to go home, you're like, I could do with staying out for another week or two. Yeah. But I fly back, or we fly back on Tuesday. I'm bringing some clients out on the 16th, and then I'm staying out again till the end of the month. So, I'm doing more and more out here as much as possible.
Oh, it sounds like life's awful.
Can I just ask you guys, if you decide to, on the whim, just to we're going to go to Finca, we're going to get on the plane. How long does the journey take? All in all, from you, on the day, how long could you, estimate it takes?
I would say 4 hours. We're very lucky. We're from Southampton Airport. We live probably 10 minutes away. From Bournemouth Airport, we're 30 minutes away. We if you like, we don't treat it anymore like we're going on holiday. So you get there 2 hours before and have a couple of drinks in the bar. We'll rock up and the queue for boarding's already going. So we've literally just got our rucksacks. We just get straight on the plane. 2 hours, 15 minutes. We're landing at Alicante Airport.
Sometimes 2 hours, isn't it?
Yeah, depends on tailwinds, and then we're literally straight in the car. We've managed to sort out car parking at the airport, which again is really, really simple. And on all these things that you think, how am I going to get from A to B? I'm paying for a taxi every time. It's really, really simple. Really, really easy. You just
Fantastic.
need to, just concentrate, look at things. And it's not expensive either.
What do you think about Alicante Airport? I know you mentioned you can fly from Bournemouth to Southampton. What do you actually think of Alicante?
Well, apart from the fact that you have to go right to the other end of the airport to fly Ryanair, but that's fine. But yeah, it's fine. It's absolutely, it's easy. It's
very quick. You don't see. I'm in Alicante Airport far too much, and I'm never really in big queues. Like you say, you do have to go all the way to the end and go through the extra security, don't you? But
it's just actually been voted recently the best airport. Sorry, Mark, you missed that.
My parents and Claire's parents have. I've said my parents, who are 78 years of age, and Claire's parents are 80 years of age. They both use it, so it's very, very simple, and very easy.
I think we're just losing signal a little bit, but that's. Can you hear me, Colin and Lisa?
We can, yeah.
Yeah, I think we're just losing signal with you guys a little bit, Mark and Claire, but it's been absolutely brilliant to have you on the show. We really, really appreciate it. And hopefully, as we did with the Noakses, hopefully when we're visiting, if we're there at the same time, maybe we could come and see the property.
I think we may have lost them a little bit.
We may have lost them, but it happens. It happens on a live stream.
Never work with children's animals or internet connections, Aki.
Exactly. But there you go, guys. That was Mark and Claire, and we really, really appreciate them joining on. And what a lovely couple they were, guys. What a lovely couple.
Yeah, really nice people to deal with. And there was one additional aspect with that property as well. So the property they bought had actually been extended, and the previous owners, the property specifically has a massive vaulted ceiling, and the previous owners had built an additional bedroom into the vault, so they'd effectively made an extra bedroom, an extra bathroom, and it was testament to, you know, the point where you have to take professional legal advice and conveyancing advice. You know, same rules apply. You know, anything that's being extended has to have permits, etc. We will be covering how planning rules slightly differ in Spain to the UK. They are different in so many ways, and sometimes hard to get your head round, you know, if you're inexperienced in these matters. So I think it's probably worth covering off with a professional in the coming weeks about how it may differ and things to look out for, you know, from the planning stage, and anything that's been extended, the things to look out for.
Yeah, and guys, if you're looking forward to the next episode already, then keep an eye on Welcome Estate's social media, because we will actually be putting updates as to what we are featuring in coming episodes as well. So it's all to go for. Now, let's talk about what's hot and what's not. So, Lisa, at the minute, which properties are hot? What's really selling like hotcakes at the minute?
Everything.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
It is really the market. It's strange, really. It doesn't seem like 12 months ago since Mark and Claire bought, and the market felt hot then. But in comparison now, it really is. The what I would say the lower budget properties, so probably between 150, 250, they come up and go really, really quickly. Villas, the problem we have at the moment is we have a bit of an area when it comes to pricing, where because prices have gone up, you're sort of like in the middle of, can you buy an apartment, can you buy a villa? I would probably say apartments are selling more at the moment than actual villas, because you can now get maybe a lovely 3-bedroomed apartment, but to step up to a villa, there's quite a big difference, really.
It's quite an interesting one, Aki. I mean, you've obviously been to Manchester and you visited as a place in the sun, and we talk about often where we do the shows, and we go to the UK every year, and we sometimes see the same faces every year, and we've done the shows post-COVID, so now we're coming up to the 4th year of those. And 3 or 4 years ago, what people could buy then with the finances they had in place to buy, they've simply had their rug pulled from under their feet and they can no longer buy it. So the general advice we give to anybody, and people can sometimes, unfortunately, be their own worst enemy. We often speak to clients and, you know, we're just in the phase of orientation, and, you know, that is important. You know, it has to be right. But the problem is the market's so hot, people can spend 2 years orientating, and then they haven't, you know, prices have moved beyond where they really wanted to be. So then they have this dilemma of, do we buy something that we didn't really want to buy in the first place, or do we get a mortgage? The other thing as well is when you're orientating or area searching, your area really is going to be dictated by how much you want to spend. And we will put a property brief together, listen to what you want, and actually take you to those areas. There's not 1,000,001 areas you can buy in Spain. It's quite limited. So you don't have to do oodles of research. Yes, it's got to be right. But the advice we give to anybody, if the money's there waiting to be spent, nobody knows what's going to happen with a crystal ball. And all we can say is past experience. People, unfortunately, there's a lot of people in our database now can't buy what they wanted to originally 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay, yeah, good point there. You know, we've talked a couple of times about the different areas. You know, there's actually some walking tours coming up on the channel, different areas near to La Finca and near in and around. But is there a specific hot area at the minute, or is it just everywhere?
I would say that the popular ones dealing with the Brit market is a lot of people, because of a certain TV show, if they want to be a bit closer to the beach, you know, Oriella Costa is is popular. So your places like Villa Martin, Playa Flamenca, Cabo Roig, Punta Prima, all of those areas which are more coastal, they will always be popular. But what you have to bear in mind is with the coast comes a premium, a cost premium of property, and it's whether you're prepared to pay that premium or not. So that's why you need to get on a plane and get out here and see the areas for yourself.
Yeah, because I would disagree with that comment a little bit. Where they end up buying, people think they want those areas because that's what we see on the TV. But when they come out and we can show alternatives for actually different areas that might meet their lifestyle requirements or holiday requirements a little bit more, I would probably say areas such as the Finca, Casada, Benihoffer. I think they're areas that are more unknown, but are more popular at the minute because they're not as overbuilt or commercialized or full of complete tourism. So I think the demand is still there for those areas, and people think that they want that. But then when they come out with us, I find that they quickly go off that area and possibly decide on different ones.
It's quite often property versus coast.
Yeah.
So, if you've got the same amount of money you want to spend, you will get more bang for your buck 15 minutes inland than you would on the coastline. So that's fine for some people. Some people who want more property come slightly inland.
Okay, fantastic. And just to clarify, Welcome Estates covers all of those areas just mentioned. Now, as is going to become a regular feature on this show, we're going to have a little look at something called Property of the Week. And I believe there's a stunning modern detached villa on La Finca Golf and Spa Resort. It's 3 beds. And I mean, I've seen some pictures. It looks absolutely brilliant. Do you guys want to talk us through this fantastic property?
The underbuild is amazing on this property. We struggle sometimes because builders create properties for holiday homes, and you've normally got a 2-bedroomed apartment. A 3-bedroomed apartment is really difficult to get, and anything above a 3-bedroom villa is really difficult to get. Where this one is pretty special because yes, it's 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom, but once we flick through some of the pictures, the underbuild, the space that this villa can give you is quite unusual for a holiday home property in Spain.
I mean, it looks great. Can I just ask a question? This is just something. I mean, excuse my ignorance, but a property can come furnished or unfurnished, right? Can a client request furnished, or was it always come unfurnished?
If it's a new build property, so if it's brand new, they don't tend to come with furniture. You may see a show house with furniture, but there'll be furniture packages available for you to purchase. This property is actually, it's only, correct me, is it around 2 years? 2 years old. It's only around 2 years old, but this property will be classed as part furnished. So depending on what the owner wants to take away, that is normally dealt with during negotiation. So the new owners or the person putting the offer in might say, well, we'll put this offer in, but we want the beds, we want the outside furniture. It's all up for negotiation. Have you seen the garage as well on there?
Yeah, it looks like you can get 3 cars in there by the look of it.
Yeah. The car doesn't come with just before you ask.
That's a shame. That is a shame. But the pool does, and the pool looks great. It's private. It's not overlooked. It's fantastic.
Yeah, the pool does. It's got the underbuild, and it's got some of these villas were built with a solarium. Some were not. It was optional when they were first built. I believe this one has got a stunning solarium at the top as well.
And from a location point of view, it's 5 minutes walk to La Finca Commercial Centre.
Yeah, and a 15-minute drive to the beach. So this really is a prime property. This one.
Yeah, it's a beauty.
And actually, one thing I noticed, having visited a couple of times now, is it's very, even though things might be a drive away, really it's dead easy. The roads are never really congested. You can get everywhere really easily, and it's actually quite nice to drive because the weather's great and it's pleasant to drive around, isn't it? Really.
People always ask me, oh, what's it like driving on the other side of the road? I'm like, well, when the traffic all goes the same way, it's quite simple, really. You know where you're going. I actually find, even though I've lived in the UK the majority of my life and drove since an early age, I find it more daunting now I was back at the weekend with my boys and I picked a hire car up. I find it more daunting on the UK roads than the Spanish roads. Completely.
Yeah, fair enough.
There's so much
without a
busier,
doubt.
so much
Like you
busier.
say, it's relaxing to drive in Spain. The roads are empty, the sun's out. It's great.
I was about to say sun's out and Colin's guns come out. Is that about right, Colin?
That's another podcast, that Aki. That's Get Shredded with Cole, that one.
You have to pay for that podcast as well. So that was our property of the week. A really nice property. It sits on a plot of 236 meters squared, which is a lot of real estate, really, for the money there. Terrific. And if you want any more information about that, guys, visit the website www.welcome-estates.com. Get in touch with Lisa and Colin or one of the other great staff that they're in there. And that's the property of the week. Now, I want to move on to busting some myths. Okay, so this one here is interesting because when you read a lot about buying Spain,
I love some of the things.
I'm interested to see what myths you've got, Aki. See if I've heard them all or not yet.
Right, so let's look at there's loads of here I'm going to pick from. So buying the property in Spain automatically gives you residency or citizenship.
It doesn't and never has. Even pre-Brexit, it never has. No.
That would be far too easy, wouldn't it?
I know. We've got to clarify it because some people have asked for that one. So
no, and it works both ways. You don't have to be a resident to own a property in Spain. So it doesn't automatically give you residence. You still get your NIE number, which is your tax number. A non-resident or a resident can have that. To buy, you only need your NIE number and a bank account, really. To purchase as a non-resident. Residency is a completely separate topic where we talked a little bit last week about visas and different type of visas.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks for clarifying. You have to pay all in cash because getting a mortgage as a foreigner is impossible.
False.
Definitely false. Definitely false.
Have we not got sound effects, Aki?
I'm sure we can add something in. What sort of noise would you like there?
That one for next week.
Family fortunes.
No, that's not true. So, I mean, the mortgage market in Spain is quite a booming one. Is it different to buying in the UK? Yes. If you're going to buy as a resident in the UK, you will probably need a deposit of about 10%. In Spain, as a non-resident, you will need between 30 and 40% of a deposit. The other thing is your buying costs, which are your 10% transfer tax in the Alicante region, 8% in Murcia, and your legal fees can't be added to the mortgage. So what we tend to say to clients conservatively, if you're looking at a property of 200k, you need about 100k to get you onto the board. Okay. So look to having about half of the money.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks for clarifying.
Just one other point as well, though, Aki. From a Spanish mortgage perspective, the interest rates in Spain are much lower than they are in the UK. Spain is linked to the Euribor. I think the last mortgage I saw was a fixed rate of just around 3%, and that was a fixed rate for absolutely donkey's years as well. So people can really pick up bargains, and we're actually seeing a lot more people now. We spoke earlier about how prices have gone up, and people might have been priced out of the market who've been looking for 3 years and haven't taken any action. A lot of those people are now starting to look at mortgages to actually buy their dream home abroad, where they maybe wouldn't have had to in the past.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to leave a couple of these for the next show because I like this little feature. But I do want to ask you this one. This one has stuck out to me. So all expats only live in brick zones and don't integrate with Spanish life. What are we saying?
It's an interesting one, that, because it's not true. It isn't true. We'll start with that. But it is something that we're asked a lot in regards to area and expats. And I live in an urbanisation which is very multicultural. It's got lots of different people from all over the world. The common language is English. And I think I need that. And that's what I say to people when they say to me, well, I want to live somewhere Spanish. Well, I wouldn't say there's an area where actually there's a middle ground. You can live in an area which is more Spanish, or you can live in an expat area which is all different nationalities. The problem about living in a Spanish area, you can do that 110%, but I can't because my Spanish is rubbish. So
Really?
yeah. Did you not know that?
I didn't.
I'll practice one day for you. but so for me in real life, as much as I would like to, I need to be able to speak to a doctor. I need to be able to go into the bank and be able to converse. I need to be able to live life and understand what's going on. And that's what I try to say to people all the time is can you actually speak Spanish? And do you think you're going to learn to an extent that you will need to? We have this conversation a lot.
We do, and it's an interesting one because the term Brit zone, when I hear that, I think people think about a man with a huge beer belly with a string vest on walking down Benidorm Pier for his fry up in the morning, you know.
Sounds like your stag do, Colin.
Sorry, we'll not go into that again. The Man film. Anyway, that film hasn't came out yet, Aki. What happened to it?
It's been banned in several territories.
Let's say one thing: this area is not represented by Benidorm. For everything it is and isn't, it's not represented by that. The best example I can give you is we've got dear friends who live in Granada, and part of the reason that we wanted to come to Costa Blanca is there's over 300,000 Brits live in Spain, and the vast majority of Brits live on the costas, so either Costa Blanca or Costa del Sol. So by definition, people speak English here, and as Lisa said, there's Dutch, Belgium, Scandinavians, who their second language is all English, sometimes better than me. And my example is our dear friends live in Granada, and they chose Granada for whatever reason, and they had a much harder landing than we did, because the benefit we had of landing in Spain 5 years ago is I refer to it as a soft landing, because it's a soft landing because we can learn the language at our own pace because everybody here speaks English. They didn't have the luxury of that and were forced to learn English very quickly, which they have. So if that's what you want to do,
learn Spanish. They could speak English.
No, they're from Newcastle. They needed to learn English first, and then Spanish. Got out of that one, didn't they? So yeah, they needed, just to get on with their everyday life. You know, it was forced upon them, and there was quite a lot of frustration in their life, which I'm not sure I could have coped with. So I take my hat off. So for anybody who wants a soft landing and to be around British-speaking people, but not necessarily a Brit zone, this is one of the places to be. I mean, as an example, I live in Quesada, and how international it is, there's actually a Norwegian school near where we live. So there's lots of nationalities here and lots of different language-speaking schools, but their second language is all English.
Yeah. So back to the myth. What the actual myth was?
That all expats live in Brit zones and don't integrate.
Yeah. So Brit zones, unless you're in your Benidorm type areas, which is a Brit zone, it's not Brit zones. It's areas where lots of different nationalities. Expats are not just English. They are not just Brits. There's lots of expats in different areas with a common language. Usually is English, because us Brits don't have much language skills, let's be completely honest, in comparison. And that's one of the things that I've loved since moving over to Spain. I have seen how other cultures, other countries, other nationalities are just different to the way we are. And it's great to learn, and it's great for my boys to see that, because they didn't see that sort of thing in England.
Yeah, and the boys are doing well learning the Spanish as well. They're speaking Spanish, so right, fantastic. There's some myths that have been busted, and we will come back to this every week because it's nice to see these myths getting squashed. Now, you know what time of the week it is, guys? It is time for some questions from viewers and subscribers. So here we've got Ian Payne, who asks, on a second home, a 200k property in the UK, you pay 10k stamp duty. If buying in Spain, do you pay that 10k to the UK and then 10% tax to Spain as well? Good question, that.
Oh, wow. What a fantastic...
Oh, there's lots of numbers in there. Over to you.
Yeah, I'm the numbers guy, unfortunately. Yeah, so I think... Sorry, I haven't got my glasses on. Did you say it was Ian?
Ian Payne, yeah.
Hi, Ian. Yeah, I think if I can read between the lines there, the purchasing a buy-to-let property, as an example, in the UK is classed as a second home. Therefore, it has a different stamp duty rate. I think anything 200k has a 5% stamp duty in the UK, which is where he gets the 10k from. In simple terms to his answer, the answer is no. You would pay the transfer taxes in Spain. You wouldn't pay that as stamp duty in the UK. Okay. Interestingly, though, I think if it's you buy something for over 250k and under something like 900k in the UK as a investment property, you actually pay 10% stamp duty, which is exactly the rate of what the Alicante stamp duty is.
Okay, thank you for answering that, Colin.
Anything you buy here, it's 10% in Alicante, 8% in Murcia. So if you buy, in that example, buying a 200k holiday home, you would pay 20k to the Alicante region, but you wouldn't pay anything in the UK because it's a foreign property.
See, guys, I told you he is not just a pretty face. He has got all the numbers in that head. So let's have a look at our next question. Scott asks, the idea of owning an apartment in Spain is appealing, but I wouldn't want to live there all year. Would I be able to rent the property out for, say, half of the year? Is this legal as a non-resident? Good question again.
Very good question.
It's not illegal. Problem that we have at the moment in Spain is you have to apply for a tourist license, and tourist licenses are quite difficult to get. So unless a property has one already, and to be honest, I think they're changing the law again where they won't transfer over. So getting so it doesn't matter if you're a resident or a non-resident, getting tourist license on property can be difficult. There is, and that's making happen now, which is quite interesting. We've seen 3 in the last year. Developments are coming up now which are purpose built for this type of thing. So they actually come with their own tourist license already. So it is still possible, but you have to pick the right project with the right location, which obviously we can help with. But it's nothing to do with being a non-resident or a resident. It's just the fact that getting a tourist license can be quite difficult.
Yeah. It's part of a push. Spain's no different to anywhere else in developed Europe. Actually, we have our own housing challenges here, and one of the unfortunate housing challenges is that because of the weather here, there's a lot of foreign investment that come here and are buying them as Airbnb properties. And what that's actually doing is it's stopping local Spaniards and local people, full stop, who live here from either A, getting on the housing ladder from a buying perspective, or actually long-term renting, because a lot of that property stock is taken up in short-term holiday lets. So therefore the kind of climate's changing a little bit, and it will have to, and anywhere in Europe that has the same problem will have to change eventually. And it's becoming a lot more difficult to get that, what we call a tourist license. Now, what you would always have to check with is if you're buying in an apartment, residence, you'd have to check, or have your lawyer check, the minutes of the last AGM to see if any bans are being put in place for tourist licenses. But like Lisa said, to be honest, if your objective is genuinely to rent the property out, there are new developments springing up now, and there's, I think you said there's 3 in the local area that we're aware of that are specifically come pre-attached with a pre-agreed tourist license. So the government are trying to take it away from the domestic property and actually build purpose-built holiday villages, if you like, for people like Scott, who maybe wants to do that.
Okay, thank you very much, guys. Next one, we've got Poor Man. I'm just going to have to look a bit closer on the screen here. So we've got Poor Man. I only have a budget of 60k. Would I be able to find a suitable living property for this? Am I wasting my time? I know I won't get a villa, but I'm sure I could get something better than my UK options. So you mentioned earlier about having half of the price. So would that mean you could get something for 120k? Am I right there?
If he was eligible for a mortgage, so it's very similar to England in the sense that you would have to prove your earnings and apply for a mortgage. If, for example, if he is, then if that 60k can become 120k, it is possible. Can you buy a property for 60k without a mortgage? Not now. No. 120 would still be tricky. especially in this market. So if you could get a mortgage, yes, possibly. If not, unfortunately, no. 60k wouldn't get you anything.
There will be areas of Spain where you can, but probably not the kind of areas that he wants if he's looking for a holiday home. But yeah, we never come across properties in this region now for 60, unfortunately.
Okay. All right, thank you, Paul. Good luck. Hope you find something there, Paul. Next up, we've got Stephen Donnelly. Sorry, I'm just having to look at this screen here. Right, so I've been advised I need an NIE number before I can even start looking for a property in Spain, but need to be a resident to attain one. Please, can you clear this up? I'm confused about the process.
This should be in the myths.
I know.
Aki.
Yeah.
Definitely a myth. An NIE number is needed at the point that you purchase, but that is way down the line. Once you've found the property, once you put an offer in, at that point, whichever solicitor that you appoint, they will arrange the NIE numbers. Yes, as we mentioned in the myth section, NIE numbers can be for residents or non-residents. Residents or non-residents, I got that right. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's just literally a tax number. That's what your NIE number is. But you don't need it pre-searching or pre-negotiation, and your solicitors will sort that out. It's quite a simple process.
It's just done
really.
as part of the conveyancing process, really. So absolute myth, that one, Aki.
All right, should have had that in the Mythbuster section, but it's all good. There's never a bad question.
Yeah. The question I would ask, Aki, on that, who's advising you? And speak to some professionals, please.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Thank you. Do we have any more questions? Yes, we do. We've got Lloyd Barrowclough. What is the best place to buy? I think we kind of mentioned this, haven't we? But what is the best place to buy in Costa Blanca that has all the amenities, but has the option of real Spain, isn't too commercialized, and more traditional Spain as opposed to built up?
You could ask 10 people the same question and get a different answer here. I would answer different to you. You would to most people. There's so many really good areas, like so many. I love La Finca, you love Casada, Lana loves Gran Alacant. It depends on what you're looking for, and a bit like the people that you've just seen on this interview, Claire and Mark, they settled on La Finca, but their friends, their business partners, actually bought in Casada. So obviously it's different things depending on what you like, but there's so many areas that have all of those things in that question.
Oh yeah, more than a doubt. I mean, we funnily enough do get asked that question an awful lot at the exhibitions. People will just ask us and say, "Where's a good area?" Well, one man's ceiling's another man's floor, isn't it? And the questions.
Where do you get your sayings from?
Where's that one? I've never heard that before.
Surely
I've never heard of that one.
I've got loads more. Just stay tuned in.
No.
I've got loads more, Lisa.
He's changed since that
I
time.
can't wait.
He's talking about people walking upside down.
As broad as it is long.
Yeah, I've heard that one. I've heard that one. Yeah,
it's an old one. Yeah. No, but in all seriousness, it's going to be affected by how much money you want to spend. So what we do as a reputable agent, we have a chat with somebody, find out what they want, and actually find out how much money they're going to spend, and it kind of creates a funnel, and a few areas will drop out the bottom, and that's where we'll focus on for somebody. But to answer where's a good area with X, Y, and Z, it's virtually impossible, isn't it?
No, I would say that Costa Blanca South has many really good areas, and the best thing to do is tell us what you're looking for, how much you want to spend, and then we can pinpoint you to the right places.
Basically, guys, what you need to do is to get on a viewing trip, get out there and have a look, because honestly, I didn't really think I would love the area as much. I just thought it'd be like of La Finca I'm talking about. I got to La Finca and I absolutely loved it, and it depends what you like as a person, doesn't it, as well?
And that's what I mean, is whatever he said, ceiling and floor, etc. I don't know what it was.
Ceiling and floor, I don't know. I'll have to check my lawyer about the word of that.
What I like might not be what Colin like. I've got children here. You've not got children at home now, so it's just you and Deb. They've got dogs, so that might be important to you, where you can go and it just depends on what's important with you. But there's lots of areas that are close to amenities, and lots to do.
Get off the internet and get on a plane.
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
what I say.
Okay, fantastic. I think that was all the questions from viewers and subscribers. And you know what? Some great questions. And there, you really, if you want any more information, guys, you need to get in touch, because we understand that the process can sometimes be a bit confusing. Get in touch. As you've already seen, Lisa and Colin have all the answers, and so do the full team at Welcome Estates. Well, we've enjoyed that episode. Another episode in the can. And there's still a few things to mention. Firstly, please like and subscribe. Secondly, we've got some fantastic videos coming up. We've got some walking tours coming up. We've got a £1 million property tour coming up. Ooh. So it's all going on really at the minute, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Important. Keep the questions coming, because that's what we're here to do. Keep the questions coming. No question is a stupid question, as I tell my children all the time. That's what we're here to do.
The only silly question is the one you don't ask.
Oh, is it?
There's another one.
On that
note. Well, I'm going to Portugal next week, Aki. So I'm traveling. We're having an adventure road trip to Lisbon.
What is this for business or pleasure?
No.
Pleasure. So me and my good lady wife Deborah, we're jumping in the car, heading all the way across to Lisbon. Great thing about living here as well is you've got access to the whole of Europe, because it's all soft borders. So it's like driving from England to Scotland. You just straight over the road, and all of a sudden you're in Portugal. So I'll let you know how it goes.
Fantastic. Well,
it'll just be me next week.
Well, unless you fancy dialing me in when I'm in Lisbon, you never know.
We could dial you in from Lisbon, don't you worry. We have a technical team.
Why not?
Yeah, could do that. Make sure you take your earphones.
Our technical team could probably put us on the moon.
It's okay if you're drunk. You say it'll get even better.
All right, guys. Well, look, it's been an absolute pleasure, and we will see you both on the next show. And like I say, to people who have just sort of cottoned on to this, it's something we'll be doing once a week. And, you're more than welcome to send in your questions. And please check out the YouTube channel for the Welcome to the Sun series. Loads of cool content on there, and you don't want to miss out on it. Right, well, thanks, Lisa. Thanks, Colin. All the best.
Thanks for the support. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.
Looking for your dream home in Spain? Costa Blanca offers stunning beaches, year-round sunshine, and a vibrant lifestyle, perfect for your next home or investment. Whether you're buying a seaside villa, a cozy apartment, or a luxury property, Welcome Estates is here to guide you every step of the way. Our team of experts makes the process simple and stress-free, from finding the perfect property to handling all the paperwork. Ready to make Costa Blanca your home? Contact Welcome Estates today at welcome-estates.com, and let's make your dream a reality.